Hey, Amy from the blog of BostronLife.com, and today I want to show you how to make the most irresistible and incredible blueberry oatmeal cookies. A combination of sweetened, buttery, chewy oats with a hint of cinnamon and the taste of fresh blueberries lend themselves to one of our favorite cookies. Thank you so much for the Oregon Blueberry Commission for sponsoring this video. Oregon blueberries are one of our favorite summertime treats. We love going to the farms to pick. We actually just got back from the blueberry farm this morning, and I love seeing all the blueberries ready for picking. In my stand mixer, I'm going to put some butter and 1 cup of sugar. I'm using coconut sugar, but you could definitely use regular sugar too. Both of those would work. And I'm going to start it off on low. It'll work its way up to about medium or so, and then whip it until it gets nice and fluffy. Once the butter has started to separate and get kind of chunky, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of honey. This adds moisture to the cookie and an extra hint of sweetness. And then I'm just going to keep whipping it up, and it's going to get nice and fluffy. So while that is whipping up together, I'm going to add my dry ingredients to a bowl. I'm going to add 2 cups of oats. I like using the quick oats. This recipe does have a lot more oats compared to a lot of other oatmeal cookies. And so I like to use the quick oats so that they're a little bit chewier. I'm going to add 1 cup of flour. You can use all-purpose. And also, if you want to make them gluten-free, you can do a gluten-free 1-for-1 flour, and they work really well. I'm just going to add it to my oats. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Next, I'm going to sprinkle over 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then I'm just going to stir this up. Then I'm going to put it to the side and finish off my wet ingredients. About halfway through, you want to scrape down all the sides to make sure the butter and the sugar get incorporated. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes for it to get nice and fluffy, and then I'm going to add the rest of my wet ingredients. So I'm going to add 1 egg and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then I'm going to mix this together until it's nicely combined. All right, now we're just going to incorporate the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. So I like to add mine slowly, about half at a time, and I like to incorporate it just until it comes together. You don't want to do too much because you don't want a tough cookie. It smells so good. I'm going to add the rest. Scraping down the sides, again, just to make sure it gets nicely combined and nothing gets left at the bottom. All right, the star of the show, we're going to add 1 cup of fresh Oregon blueberries to our oatmeal cookie batter, and then we're going to fold it gently. We don't want to be breaking up any of the blueberries as much as possible. Fold it in there nicely. I have a parchment lined baking sheet, and I'm going to scoop my cookies in with this little cookie scoop here. This makes it way easier, and it's the perfect shape and size. I have to press them down just a little bit for popping them in the oven. Another trick is if you do want them to look extra pretty, you can top them and kind of squish them down a little bit. A few extra blueberries. All right, these are ready for the oven. They look and smell delicious. These are going to go into a preheated oven at 350 degrees for about 14 to 18 minutes. Now, if you do smaller cookies, it might be closer to 12 to 14 minutes. You just want to check and see when the edges start to turn a golden brown. Just a few recipe notes. If you are wanting to make these gluten-free, you can just substitute the all-purpose flour for a gluten-free 1-to-1 flour. If you have celiac disease, you will want to make sure that you use a certified gluten-free oats, because oats are naturally gluten-free, but a lot of times they can be cross-contaminated in the machinery and could possibly have gluten on them. So if you are celiac, just make sure to make those 2 swaps. The cookie does taste pretty much exactly the same. The texture is slightly different with the gluten-free ones, but they are still very yummy. I just pulled these from the oven, and they look and smell incredible. And now the hardest part is you have to wait for them to cool on the pan. You don't want to move them. They get a little bit harder and a little crunchier when they are just sitting on the pan, and so don't move them. It's hard, I'm sorry, but try your best. There you have it, blueberry oatmeal cookies that are so good. They're addicting. I actually have made a ton of these recently, and I've been giving them out to friends and kind of leaving them on doorsteps. And everybody that tries them tells me how good they are and how they've eaten every single one that I gave them pretty much instantly. So this recipe is definitely a winner. It'll become a family favorite, I promise. Really hope that your family enjoys them as much as my friends and family have enjoyed them. Thank you, Oregon Blueberry Commission, for sponsoring this video, and I hope you find a U-Pick farm near you to pick some blueberries, eat more locally, and more sustainable. This is a great time to support those farms that are local to you. So make sure you head out and do that. I know this year we'll probably try to pick at least 60, probably more pounds of blueberries so that we can eat them fresh and frozen. I will leave in the description box the blog post with the printable recipe card and all the tips and tricks in making these cookies. We'll also leave a link below to the Oregon Blueberries website where you can find a U-Pick farm near you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and share with your friends. You definitely need these cookies this summer and fall and all year long. You can even make them with frozen blueberries. The color is a little bit different and they will eventually turn purple by the end of the batter, but they're still really yummy. Thank you so much for stopping by. I share 2 new videos every single week from simple recipes, DIY projects, and natural living products. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and share with your friends.